That adopted girl and my daughter Lily can never be equals." The room went silent the second my sister screamed those words. Not awkward silence, not shocked silence. The kind of silence that burns your ears and makes your heart pound so loudly you wonder if everyone can hear it. I was standing near the kitchen counter, holding a juice box I'd just opened for Mia, my daughter, my adopted daughter, the girl my sister had just reduced to that adopted girl, like she was a problem, not a child. Mia was 6 years old. She didn't fully understand the words, but she understood the tone. Her small fingers tightened around my sleeve, and she looked up at me with wide eyes that asked a question she didn't yet have language for. Why doesn't Auntie like me? Lily, my sister's biological daughter, stood across the room, frozen. She looked uncomfortable, but not surprised, which told me everything I needed to know. This wasn't new. This was just the first time my sister said it out loud. I slowly placed the juice box down, forcing my hands to stop shaking. My parents were there. My brother-in-law was there. Everyone had heard it, and no one spoke. My sister crossed her arms, chest heaving. "You know exactly what I mean. You can't expect them to be treated the same. Lily is my blood. Mia isn't." Blood. That word had followed Mia like a shadow since the day we brought her home. I adopted Mia 3 years ago, after fostering her for nearly a year. She had come from a system that taught her how to survive before it ever taught her how to trust. The first time she called me Mom, she whispered it, like she was afraid the word might be taken back. And now my own sister was trying to teach her that love came with conditions. "I didn't ask you to treat them differently. I asked you to stop excluding her. She's sensitive. That's not my fault. Lily shouldn't have to dim herself because you chose someone else's child." Someone else's child? I felt something crack inside me. My parents avoided my eyes. My mother busied herself stacking plates that didn't need stacking. My father stared at the floor like it held the answer to a question no one had asked him. That silence hurt almost as much as my sister's words. Mia tugged my sleeve again. "Mom," she whispered, "did I do something wrong?" That was it. Not the yelling, not the cruelty. That question. I knelt in front of her and looked her straight in the eyes. "No," I said softly, "you did nothing wrong. Ever." My sister scoffed. "See, this is what I mean. You're already putting her on a pedestal." I stood up slowly, my heart pounding. "No," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside me. "I'm protecting my child." "Adopted," she corrected coldly. I turned to face her fully. "Say that word again like it makes her less, and this conversation will end very differently." She smirked. "You're being dramatic." Maybe. But as I looked around that room, at the people who were supposed to be my family, I realized something terrifying. They weren't just tolerating her words, they were agreeing with them. Silently. And in that moment, I knew this wasn't just about one cruel sentence. This was about years of quiet exclusion, unspoken hierarchy, and a truth they never expected me to challenge. But what my sister did next, right in front of Mia, forced me to make a decision that would permanently divide our family. The house was still tense when my sister clapped her hands together like she was closing a meeting. "All right," she said brightly, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Lily, come here, sweetheart." Lily walked toward her mother, glancing once at Mia. There was something hesitant in her expression, conflicted, almost apologetic. My sister bent down and brushed Lily's hair back. "Remember what we talked about? The dance academy?" Lily's eyes lit up instantly. "Really?" "Yes," my sister said proudly. "I spoke to the director. You'll start next month." Everyone reacted at once. My parents gasped. My mother clasped her hands together. My father smiled like this was some grand family achievement. "That's wonderful," my mom said. "Such a big opportunity." Mia stepped forward, still holding my hand. "I like dancing too," she said quietly. The room froze again. My sister straightened slowly. "This academy is selective," she said carefully. "It's very competitive." I felt my stomach drop. I already knew where this was going. "I can practice," Mia offered. "I'm good at remembering steps." My sister's smile tightened. "It's not really for beginners." "She's been taking classes for a year. Her teacher says she's doing great." My sister looked at me like I'd overstepped some invisible boundary. "This is something special for Lily," she replied. "I don't want comparisons. It wouldn't be fair." Fair. The same word that always meant unequal when it came to Mia. "So you announced this now, right after saying my daughter could never be equal?" She shrugged. "Life isn't equal." Mia squeezed my fingers harder. I could feel her shrinking, making herself smaller the way children do when they sense they're not welcome. My mother cleared her throat. "Maybe Mia can do something else. She's creative." Something else. Somewhere else. Out of the way. I looked around the room, searching for someone, anyone, to say this was wrong, to tell my sister to stop, to defend a 6-year-old who only wanted to belong. No one did. That's when I realized this wasn't just my sister's belief. It was a family policy. My sister leaned closer to me and lowered her voice. "You chose to adopt. That was your choice. Don't make Lily pay for it." I stared at her, stunned. "Pay for what? Sharing love?" She scoffed. "You don't understand what it's like to protect your own child." That sentence landed like a slap. "I do," I said quietly. "That's exactly what I'm doing." I turned to Mia and knelt again. "Sweetheart, go get your backpack from the car." She hesitated. "Are we leaving?" "Yes," I said gently. "We're going home." My sister laughed under her breath. "See? Dramatic." But as Mia walked toward the door, my heart broke in a way I didn't know was possible, because I saw it then, the moment she realized this house wasn't safe for her. As we stepped outside, my mother followed us. "You're overreacting," she whispered. "This will blow over." I looked at her, really looked at her. It already blew over, right over my child. That night, Mia didn't talk much. She just asked one question before bed. "Mom," she whispered, "am I temporary?" I held her until she fell asleep, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt, because I knew then this wasn't over, and the next time my sister tried to draw a line between our daughters, I wouldn't just step over it, I would erase it completely. But the call I received 3 days later proved my sister had no intention of stopping, and this time she involved the entire family. 3 days later, my phone buzzed while I was helping Mia with her homework. "Family meeting, Sunday. Everyone needs to be there." No greeting, no context, just a summons. I stared at the message, already knowing what it meant. My sister didn't want resolution. She wanted backup, witnesses, a room full of people to help her prove I was the problem. I didn't reply. Sunday came anyway. I almost didn't go. Almost. But then Mia looked up at me that morning and asked, "Are we seeing Grandma today?" There was hope in her voice. Fragile, dangerous hope. "Yes," I said, forcing a smile. "We are." The living room felt colder than usual when we arrived. Everyone was already seated, my parents on the couch, my brother-in-law stiff in his chair, my sister standing near the window like she was preparing to deliver a verdict. Mia stayed close to me. My sister didn't waste time. "This can't continue," she said, arms crossed. "The tension, the favoritism." Favoritism. I almost laughed at the audacity. "She's referring to Mia," my mother added softly, not meeting my eyes. My chest tightened. "You mean the 6-year-old?" "Yes," my sister snapped. "This constant insistence that she be treated the same as Lily, it's confusing." "Confusing to who?" I asked. "To Lily," she said immediately. "She doesn't understand why everything has to be shared." Shared. Like love was a limited resource. I took a slow breath. No one asked Lily to give anything up. I asked that Mia not be excluded. My father finally spoke. "Maybe the girls need clearer boundaries." Boundaries. Another word for separation. "And what boundaries would those be?" I asked. My sister stepped forward. "Lily's milestones should be celebrated without comparison. Scholarships, programs, gifts. She shouldn't have to look over her shoulder wondering if Mia will get the same." Mia looked up at me confused. "Mom, what's a milestone?" I swallowed hard. "Something important, sweetheart." My sister rolled her eyes. "See, this is exactly what I mean." That's when I stood up. "No," I said firmly. "What you mean is that you want permission to treat my daughter as less." My mother gasped. "That's not fair." "What's not fair," I replied, my voice shaking now, "is having a meeting about a child's worth while she's sitting in the room." I turned to my parents. "You taught us that family is family, that love isn't conditional. When did that change?" My father looked away. My sister crossed her arms again. "You're twisting everything. We're just being realistic." "Realistic about what?" I demanded. "That adoption makes a child second class?" She didn't answer. She didn't have to. Her silence was agreement. I looked around the room and saw it clearly now. They weren't malicious. They were comfortable. Comfortable with hierarchy. Comfortable with old ideas dressed up as practicality. I knelt beside Mia and brushed her hair back. "Go play in the backyard for a minute, okay?" She hesitated, then nodded. The moment she was gone, my sister sighed. "This is exactly why I didn't want her here." That sentence hit harder than anything she'd said before. I straightened slowly. "You didn't want my daughter here?" She shrugged. "It complicates things." Something inside me settled. A calm, terrifying clarity. "Then let me simplify it," I said. Everyone looked at me. Because in that moment, I knew this meeting wasn't about compromise. It was about choosing sides. And this time, I was done trying to belong. But when I revealed the decision I'd already made, my sister's confidence shattered, and she did something unforgivable to try to regain control.
"I won't bring Mia around anymore." The words landed heavier than I expected. My sister blinked. My parents stiffened. My brother-in-law shifted uncomfortably in his chair. "You're cutting us off?" my mother asked, her voice trembling. "No," I said calmly. "I'm protecting my child." My sister laughed, sharp and disbelieving. "You're punishing everyone because you can't handle reality." "Reality," I replied, "is that my daughter is being harmed in this house." "That's dramatic," she snapped. "What's dramatic," I said, "is calling a family meeting to decide a child's place." Silence. I picked up my bag and walked toward the door. My sister followed me into the hallway, lowering her voice. "You're making a huge mistake," she hissed. "The family will never forgive you." I looked at her steadily. "They don't need to forgive me. They need to stop hurting my child." Her face hardened. "If you walk out like this, don't expect support when things get hard." I almost smiled. Things had been hard for Mia long before this, and support had been nowhere. I left. For 2 weeks, there was nothing. No calls, no messages. just an eerie quiet that felt both painful and relieving. Mia stopped asking about Grandma. She slept better, laughed more. Then the lie started spreading. I heard about it from a cousin. She says you're keeping Mia away because you're jealous of Lily, that you're insecure about adoption. My stomach dropped. My sister had rewritten the story. According to her, I was unstable, overprotective, creating division where none existed. She told people Mia was confused and that I was projecting my issues onto her daughter. Worst of all, she claimed Mia was better off not getting too attached to the family anyway. That sentence made my hands shake with rage. A week later, my mother called, voice tight. People are asking questions. About what? I asked. About Mia, she admitted. About why she's not around. About whether you're coping. There it was. My sister's lie had done its job. You believed her, I said quietly. My mother didn't answer. I realized then that silence wasn't neutrality, it was permission. That night, I opened a folder on my laptop, one I'd kept without realizing why. Emails, texts, photos, messages from teachers, videos of Mia dancing in class, notes from therapists about her progress, her sensitivity, her need for stability. Proof, not to convince strangers, to protect my daughter. The next morning, I sent one message to the family group chat. I'm aware of the story being told about me and my daughter. It's not true. I won't argue, but I will no longer stay silent. Within minutes, my sister called, furious. You're turning everyone against me, she screamed. No, I said steadily. I'm letting the truth speak. You'll regret this, she warned. I looked at Mia cowering at the table, humming softly to herself. No, I replied. I already regret not doing it sooner. Because if my sister thought lies would make me back down, she had no idea what protecting a child could turn a mother into. But when the school called me days later and mentioned my sister by name, I realized she'd crossed a line that couldn't be undone.
The call came on a Tuesday afternoon, right as I was folding laundry. Hello, this is Miss Carter from Oak Ridge Elementary, the voice said gently. I'm calling about Mia. My heart dropped instantly. Is she okay? Yes, physically, she replied quickly, but we had a visit today that raised some concerns. I sat down on the edge of the bed. A visit from who? There was a pause. From your sister. My blood went cold. She introduced herself as Mia's aunt, the Miss Carter continued carefully. She asked to observe Mia during recess and requested information about her emotional development. Requested. As if she had any right. I did not authorize that, I said, my voice shaking now. She does not have permission to access my child. I understand, the teacher said. We didn't allow direct contact, but she was persistent. She expressed concerns about Mia's adjustment and questioned whether her home environment was stable. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Stable. That word again. Weaponized. Did she say why? I asked, though I already knew. She implied, Miss Carter said gently, that you might be overwhelmed by the responsibilities of adoption. I closed my eyes, fury flooding through me. She had no right, I said, none. We agree, the teacher assured me, which is why I wanted to notify you immediately. After the call ended, I sat there in silence, hands clenched in my lap. My sister hadn't just lied to family, she had tried to put doubt into the system, into the place that watched over my child every day. That wasn't cruelty anymore, that was dangerous. I called my lawyer within the hour, then I called my sister. She answered on the second ring, smugness dripping through the line. Oh good, I was hoping you'd call. "What did you think you were doing, going to my daughter's school?" "I was concerned," she said calmly, too calmly. "People are worried about Mia. I thought it was my responsibility." "You don't have any responsibility for her," I said, my voice low and shaking. "You don't get to question my fitness as a mother because I won't let you treat my child as less." "She's not your blood," my sister snapped, "and pretending otherwise doesn't make it true." That sentence snapped something inside me. She is my daughter, and if you ever step near her school, her doctor, or her life again, I will involve the courts. She laughed. "You'd really do that to family?" "You stopped being family when you tried to take something from my child." The call ended abruptly. That night, Mia crawled into my bed without a word and curled against my side. Her small fingers clutched my shirt like she was afraid I might disappear. "Mom, did I do something bad at school?" My heart broke. "No," I said fiercely, "someone else did, and I promise you, you are safe." As she fell asleep, I realized something with terrifying clarity. My sister wasn't trying to protect Lily anymore. She was trying to win, and she was willing to sacrifice Mia to do it. I opened my laptop again, adding the school report to the growing file, because if she wanted to turn this into a battle, I would make sure it ended where it should have begun, with the truth. But when my parents finally chose a side, I learned just how deep the betrayal really went and why my sister was never acting alone. I found out my parents had chosen a side the same way I always found out things in my family. Late, quietly, and through someone else. My mother didn't call me first. She called my lawyer. He rang me that evening. "Your parents reached out," he said carefully. "They're concerned." Concerned. That word again, dressed up to sound kind. "About what?" I asked, already bracing myself. "About the situation escalating," he replied, "and about your sister's fears regarding Lily's emotional well-being." I felt something hollow out in my chest. "So they talked to her?" "Yes," he said gently, "extensively." When I hung up, my hands were shaking. I called my parents immediately. They invited me over the next day, alone, no Mia. That alone told me everything. I walked into the same living room where Mia's worth had been debated weeks earlier. This time, my sister was already there, sitting comfortably like she belonged there more than we ever had. My mother gestured for me to sit. "We need to talk calmly," she said. I didn't sit. "You believed her," I said flatly. My father sighed. "She's worried about her daughter." "So am I, only I'm actually protecting mine." My sister folded her hands, playing the role perfectly. "I never meant harm," she said softly. "I just think Mia's situation is complicated." "There it is," I snapped. "You keep saying that word so you don't have to say what you really mean." My mother rubbed her temples. "You're both emotional." "No," I said, my voice trembling. "Only one of us is trying to erase a child." My father finally looked at me. "We think it would be best if things cooled down, maybe some distance." "From who?" I asked. He hesitated. "From Mia." The room spun. "You want me to distance my child," I said slowly, "because my sister is uncomfortable with her existence." "That's not what we're saying. We're saying maybe she shouldn't be around Lily for a while." "For a while," I echoed, "just like before, just until she's invisible again." My sister didn't deny it. That was the moment I understood the full truth. This wasn't about one cruel sister. This was about parents who had decided which child mattered more and were willing to sacrifice a grandchild to keep the peace. "I won't do that," I said quietly. My mother's voice hardened. "Then you're choosing this path." "Yes," I replied. "I am." I stood up. My sister smirked, until I spoke again. "And since you've all decided to involve yourselves in Mia's life without my consent, I've already taken steps to ensure it won't happen again."
Their expressions changed. "What steps?" my father asked sharply. "Legal ones," I said. "Restraining boundaries, school notifications, medical records locked. No one accesses my child without me." My sister's smile vanished. "You can't shut us out." "I already have," I said. I walked out without looking back. As I sat beside Mia that night as she slept, watching her chest rise and fall, I promised her something I had never promised anyone before. "No one will ever make you feel less again," I whispered. But deep down, I knew the storm wasn't over, because people who are used to power don't let go quietly, and my sister still had one move left, the most dangerous one of all. Because what she did next forced the truth into the open and exposed the one thing she'd been hiding from everyone.
The final blow didn't come from my sister. It came from Lily. 2 weeks after I cut contact, my phone buzzed with a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it until the voicemail came through. "Hi, this is Lily's school counselor. I'm calling because Lily asked to speak with someone about something she overheard at home. We felt it was important to reach you." My heart dropped. I called back immediately. The counselor's voice was calm but careful. "Lily has been struggling. She's experiencing anxiety, guilt, and confusion surrounding Mia." "Guilt?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "Lily told us her mother often talks about how Mia is a problem and how she needs to protect Lily from being replaced. Lily believes she caused the family conflict just by existing." I closed my eyes, pain and anger crashing together. "That's not all," the counselor continued. "Lily also said her mother warned her not to repeat certain things, including that if Mia stayed around, people might take Lily away instead." I went cold. That was it. My sister hadn't just devalued my child, she had emotionally poisoned her own. The counselor asked gently, "Did you know Lily was afraid of adoption services?" "No," I whispered, "but I know where that fear came from." Within hours, my lawyer had the report. Within days, the truth unraveled faster than my sister could control it. When my parents were confronted, not by me, but by a licensed professional, their certainty crumbled. The narrative my sister built collapsed under the weight of her own words. She wasn't protecting Lily, she was using her. The family meeting that followed was nothing like the last one. My sister cried, denied, deflected. But Lily spoke, and when she did, there was no way to pretend anymore. My parents didn't apologize with words, they apologized with silence. Stunned, ashamed silence. I was offered reconciliation, carefully, quietly. I declined, for now. Because healing doesn't start with pretending nothing happened. Mia is thriving now. She dances in the living room without asking permission. She sleeps without fear. She knows, without doubt, that she belongs. As for my sister, she lost control of the story, and in doing so, she lost the power she thought blood gave her. Because here's the truth she never understood. Family isn't defined by DNA. It's defined by who shows up when a child needs safety. And when she screamed that my daughter could never be equal, I didn't argue. I proved her wrong.